Hi everybody, my name is Francois and this will be my first YouTube video. So today I'm going to talk about the things that I wish I knew before going off to college. So I have about 5 or 6 different aspects that I would like to share with you all. So first, before we get started, I want to let you all know that this is a disclaimer. These are my personal thoughts, my personal beliefs, based off my own experiences or my experiences that others have shared with me over the last few years. So let me give you a little background. So I've graduated from an HBCU just recently in 2018. Prior to that, I went off to another HBCU in Richmond, Virginia, and I studied criminal justice there. And this HBCU was a private HBCU in Richmond, Virginia. Let me clear that. So I just want to let you know that these are some things that I feel like that are pertinent to everybody's educational success, because nowadays there's slightly more opportunities for grants and scholarships and everything of that nature. It's more now than it was when I first went off to college, or at least it seems to be that way anyway. So enough with the chit chat. I'm going to get into the video so that hopefully this will be a blessing to someone getting ready to go off to college pretty soon. So the first thing that I want to talk about is do your research. What I mean by do your research is, consider all the schools that you are going to apply to. Consider the transportation or travel, consider majors, consider your cost of living, consider your spending habits, consider everything. Consider the classroom size, consider everything. This is a perfect time for you to be able to get a chance to just explore a few different things and just to see where you're going to fit in at. The second thing that I want to talk about is compare a community college to a 4-year private or public college / university. For some people, they may not know that a community college offers just about the same, if not better, education at a community college than at a 4-year college. At least at a community college, if you're somewhat on the fence about what you want to major in, at least you may have an idea, or you can go into it and not be in so much debt when you're done. This will give you I call it a shaping stone, because in community college, they don't really expect for you to know what you really want to do or what you want to major in. So this is just a way for you to stay in the groove of going to school, stay in the groove of getting an education while you're probably working part-time or what have you until you figure some things out. I feel like community colleges are an excellent choice. Now, if you're someone more so like, okay, I know what I want to do, I want to go off, I want to continue a legacy that my parents or aunts or cousins or family members have already instilled, then I feel like kudos to you. Then you already know. Just, everyone just need to be mindful of the financial burdens that could come along with going off to a 4-year college, especially in the beginning. A lot of us, especially it's like myself and some of my girlfriends, it seems like freshman year and sophomore year, you still do get a really good amount of financial aid. But come your junior year, they give you nothing. They give you absolutely nothing. They may give you work study, and that's about it. So that's something to take into consideration. My third pointer would be try to compare living off campus versus living on campus. Now this will probably be more so targeted towards your 4-year public or 4-year private institutions versus your community colleges. And the reason why I say compare on campus to off campus is because when you're living on campus, it's going to be quite a bit of more of an expense, because everything is at your leisure. It's right there. Generally, you're not walking more than a mile or 2 to the library, and class is right there. The convenience of the washing machines, the convenience of the student body, the convenience of just knowing what's going on campus at all times. That seems to be the big deal. Versus when you live off campus, you generally do get a cheaper rate, and then sometimes that cheaper rate it balances out tuition wise, but it may not really balance out in the long term, because then you got to think about, okay, so I live off campus, I'm saving $3,000 or $4,000, but then I'm also not really saving it in the long run, because I got to put it back into a new car, put it back into car insurance, I got to put it back into groceries, which generally you probably can add on meal plans. If you live off campus, schools generally give you the option to add on meal plans for off campus students. So that's a whole nother story in itself. And then also too, another aspect that I like to talk about is if you live off campus, try to do more than just yourself and a roommate. Try to make it so that it's 4 of you all inside of a home versus just 2 people, because it does give you more of a cushion. Yeah, you're gonna have to share your space and what have you, but you're not there to really worry about sharing your space. You're there to get an education and come on about there. So that would be another aspect. Also too, I want to mention to everybody that some of the things that I feel like I did not get a chance or better understanding of was the financial aid situation or the process. Make sure that if you get a refund check from school, if you're not using that refund check strictly on your books, summer session classes, winter session classes, or your actual rent, do not take your refund check and go buy yourself the newest Jordans. Nope. You need to take your refund check and pay for school with it, or pay your credit card bill off, or buy yourself a car. It needs to be something that is meaningfully meaningful, not the news weave job, none of that kind of stuff. I understand we all need our hair done and everything, but at the same time, you don't want to have to think back when you go get ready to pay your student loans back and say, what did I spend the $6,000 on that semester? Like, okay, I got a refund check for $6,000, but what did I spend it on? And generally, by the time you come out of college, you're not even going to have that stuff anymore. So that's just a word to the wise. I don't want to tell people how to spend their money or how to manage your financial obligations. However, I do want to bring it to your attention. Those refund checks, if you don't need that refund check at that moment, send that refund check right on back to Sallie Mae, right on back to the Department of Education, so that, you know, it's there. Unless you're really, really good with saving money, that's a different story. But don't take your refund checks and spend it on meaningless things that you are not going to be able to show for later. Shoes and weaves and nails. That stuff is crazy. Don't do all that. Okay, so my fourth thing is, I feel like this is something that it's not naturally something that I wish I would have known, but I feel like this is something that we think about when we go off to college, and people say to us, but we really don't take heed to it, because we feel like, okay, the same way that I was able to go off to college, I should be able to maintain it. Okay, so my fourth thing is, it's more of a student. It's like more of a student. I call it student administrative stuff versus, you know, work administrative stuff. I call it student administrative stuff. Let me say what I mean by this. When you go off to college, we all know, okay, we always feel like, okay, if I wasn't smart enough to go, you know, if my grades wasn't good enough to go, then they wouldn't have accepted me. If it was like, oh, whatever the case may be. No. When you go off to college, you need to utilize a lot of different steps in order to be successful. Prime example, technology has gotten a whole lot better over the years, right? Versus when I was coming up, this is how old I'm telling you I was. We had floppy disks. I don't even think USB drives or USBs were even quite here yet. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't hip to it yet, but I use floppy drives, or floppy disks, or whatever the case may have been. So continue to save your documents in more than one place. If you have a Google Drive, save it to Google Drive. If you have a OneDrive, save it to OneDrive. And if you have iCloud, save it to iCloud. And wherever else you need to save it to, and even save it on a USB. Have a general USB strictly for your work. You need to save it there too, because sometimes we're ripping and running, we're going places, and we tend to forget certain things. So therefore, you always have several options. Your cell phones are always there. A lot of schools now are also doing Wi-Fi printing. So if you save it to your phone and you got it in your iCloud or whatever, you can always print it from your iCloud, and boom, there goes your assignment. You're good to go, even when you're running late. The second thing I want to mention to you is utilize your student body. Your student body is there for you. They are peers of yours that are or tend to find themselves to be superb in certain areas of expertise. Prime example, when I was in college, writing was something I avoided. I could not understand for the life of me how to write these 5-paragraph essays. And it wasn't until a little bit later in life I realized, little girl, you're going to have to get this together. You're going to have to learn how to write these essays, because if that's what's going to hold you back from getting your degree, you better get on board and learn how to do it. You can learn how to do everything else. You can learn how to do this. So utilize your student body. There's tutors for math, science, English, history, law, biology, whatever. Utilize those student bodies. Also, take notes. No matter what the teacher may be saying, even if it sounds like blah, 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 take notes, because he or she is talking to you, because they wouldn't be talking if it wasn't important. So however, take notes. Take notes, then rewrite the notes when you get back to your dorm room, or when you get to the study hall, or you get to the library, and then review the notes. Because repetition is generally how Americans learn, and a lot of it's going to come from learning how to, auditorily listening and hearing it several times, so you're gonna naturally just remember. So then I have, go to all your classes. Go to all your classes. Teachers say a lot of times that, or a lot of universities may say something like, oh, we don't count attendance. Yeah, the university may not count attendance, but I'll tell you what, let you be at an 89.9 and it's either that B or that A. If you miss a bunch of classes, you may get the 89.9. But if you was there at every single class and you participated, or at least pretended to participate or be engaged, you're going to get that 90.0. And that's what we want. We want the best. We want the absolute best. We want to show that we care. We want to show that we are paying for something that's going to mean something later in life. So remember, this is your money, your education, your future, your success. So we got to make sure that you take heed to all of these things. My fifth point would be to network. Network. If you've been around for a while, you've noticed that a lot of times people talk about it's not who you know, but it's not what you know, but it's who you know. In 2019, that is a 99.9% probably fake phrase that has quite a bit of accuracy behind it, because a lot of times people get jobs based off of who they know, because they're going to recommend you. So it's the same thing here. Continue to network. If you know your major is going to be biology, and eventually somewhere along the line you may have to do a biology internship, at one of the nearby hospitals or whatever the case may be, more than likely some of those juniors and seniors while you're a freshman are going to tell you how it works, what's new, how to get around it, who to go talk to, and all those kind of things. So take heed to that. Implement a time management schedule. You're going to have to utilize a lot of your phone probably. I'm still old school. I still use a planner for the most part, because I just feel like sometimes if I have to write it down, after I know I have to do something, then if I have to write it down, it just sticks a little bit better for me. So I may still put it in my phone, but I may really, really, really acknowledge it when it's when it's on a planner, because that's something I gotta pull out my purse, and I gotta actually open up and look and read and all of those kind of good things. So implement time management. Always block out an extra 35 to 45 minutes before and or after you do an activity, because you need time to do this activity and then like relax a little bit. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, especially if you're not really used to really having to have to study so often and so much material at one time. So you're going to have to understand that. And then the other thing is, never just study it once. Study it in the morning, study a little bit before you go to class, study a little bit after class, and then study before you go to bed. And then with that being said, also, it's very important that you get quite a bit of sleep. You need your sleep. Take your vitamins, drink your water, get your sleep. You need that too, because that's going to help your body remember things. It's going to help you learn better and function. Stay away from stressful situations and stressful people. You could deal with that some other time. Pick and choose those kind of situations. I can't tell you how to do that, but I can tell you have to really, 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 really use your time management. And with the time management comes getting enough sleep, the studying, and then you still need personal time, whether it's going to get your toes done or whatever the case may be. You still need to implement those kind of things as well. Then my last and final aspect to your networking and getting to know people and communicating and all those kind of things would be to set reasonable goals and expectations. Everybody comes to college with the idea that they're there to be successful, and that is so very true. When I first went off to college, the president of the school said, if you look to your left and then if you look to your right, one of you will not be here next year. That was so true. So what I mean by that is, everything is a learning experience. Everything has its roles. Everything has its place in life. And sometimes in life, things just have to fall into place. As bad as we as human beings want them to fall into place our way, sometimes there's another brighter picture that's gonna, fall into place for us. So I say all these things to say, if you take heed to some of these things that I just mentioned to you, because I did not take heed to a lot of these things when I first went off to college, because I didn't really have anyone to talk to. I didn't really have anything to really rely on besides people telling me, oh, you just have to study, and you just have to study, and oh, you just have to study. Stay away from the frat parties and the sorority parties. But nobody ever said anything about me taking time out for myself. So I'm here to tell you, you need to take time out for yourself. You need to study. You need to take time for yourself. You need to communicate with your peers and get to know other people around you, do other things, but you also need to implement some of these other things as well, because these things I found to be helpful to me when I was going through college, and when I mentioned this to some of my other friends and whatnot, it seemed to be quite helpful for them as well. So I say all these things to say, once again, success is knocking at the door. It's up for you to either you're going to open the door and you're going to walk through the door, or you're going to keep the door closed and you're just going to kind of like not take heed to anything, and you're just going to feel like you're just going to fly by. Education is very important here in the United States, and education is also something that is in high demand. Whether or not we believe we need this post-secondary education is a whole nother topic. But I want you to, when you go off to college, I want you to enjoy it, have fun, learn, communicate, network, grow, mature, and just all around just be good people. So I hope that you all have enjoyed my vlog. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. I probably will have a part 2 to this, but I'll let you guys know. I thank you so much for sticking around and listening to my vlog, and I love you guys. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.